Today I've been thinking about what dictates my use of time. Perhaps because it's raining. It's an autumn day, a typical autumn day, and the things that I had decided was going to happen on a particular day, it's not as easy to do because it's wet and working out in the garden. That's the fire going. The advantage of having a relatively cold, wet day is you can put the fire on and have a crackling warm fire, which is really homey. But today I'm sort of enjoying the new room that we've got. It's an old room in the farm that is almost updated to be a usable space, a day room, if you like, where we can come and do this, and just on a wet day have somewhere where it doesn't matter if the floor gets wet, or you can hang your wet clothes and then the fire will dry everything. So one of the things that has happened while I've been away is this. Chris has worked on this room. It's so beautiful. It's not finished yet, but it just feels very farm kitchen-y. It's amazing. It's just all the little details. So this pot, the pot Chris found when he was out walking one day, and then the bird's nest were the previous occupants of this room. Onions gifted to us. How amazing is that? Keeping things simple and using the things that you've got, not paying tribute to the people who lived here or the nature of here, and then updating it, and it's just...
Now you've had a quick update on the story of the kitchen, it's back to my reflections on my use of time.
When I was a professional teacher, when I was a teacher, my time was so rigid and so fixed. My years were organised for me. I knew exactly 3 years in advance when I was going to have holiday periods of time, when the school holidays were and when they weren't. So my years were organised, my months were organised, my weeks were organised. You knew that at this time of year you had to do this and you had to do that, and even down to the days were organised into hours or periods at time. Here's the first lesson, then you're allowed a 15-minute break, and then the next one, and it would be you get up, you go to work, and you just never stopped. And I'm sure that whether that's the same for you, that whether you've been a teacher or not, you experience that sense of time your days have got a very rigid structure to them. They are fixed. And I found that a lot. And in some ways, since I've not been a teacher, I've pulled that organisation into this life. And today I began to reflect on on how hard I found it to be not to be so rigid, because I've lived a rigid life. I've lived rigidly for so long. And you sort of think, oh, you know, and you don't have to go to work, or you don't have to go to work in the traditional sense. And I suppose for many people with COVID and working at home, there isn't, your day's organised differently. And at first I found that for me, when I wasn't going to work, I needed to put a structure in place. I needed to have things that I knew that I would do. So my week was organised. I've always had little plans and things. So one of the things that I use is I've got this. So I would draw like a little timetable up with my weeks. And I've had it evolve slowly. But on each day of the week, it would be, okay, these are the things that I need to get done. At first, I had it that I really had my days on my calendar planned into, you've got an hour for this, and an hour for that, and an hour for something else. And like I was used to, because that's what I've been doing for 20 odd years of my life. And gradually over the last 2 years, it's evolved so that instead of having it organised by the hour, I've now got a day. Okay, today there are certain things that are my priorities. I need to learn Portuguese because I live here and that's what I have to do. So I need to make that space. And then I work out the jobs I need to do. But today I've sat again and I'm thinking, there's all the things in the garden to do. There's everything to do in the garden. You need to be in the garden. But now the weather has dictated that closer connection to nature has dictated how I can spend my time. So there are things that we have now, or I've now got to fit into life. So today is a rainy, wet day. It's not a day for working outside. So all the things that I need to do I think oh my goodness. Sorry about that. The kettle is on top of the fire and it's started to boil water. Oh, I could have a cup of tea. It needs a clean. It's really dusty, that fire. The top of the fire is anyway. So I was saying that today I can't go out in the garden because it's wet, but I can do other jobs. And it becomes, when there is a sunny day, as we go into winter, as we go into the autumn and into the winter, there's going to be a lot of rain. And it's going to be difficult to dry clothes. So it's when it's a sunny day, that's the day you have to do the washing. And it doesn't matter whatever else happens that day, that needs to happen. Otherwise there's not enough heat in the sun, or the clothes will stay damp. And suddenly your life has a very different rhythm, a rhythm that's more connected to nature. Is it as rigid? I don't know. And it's something that I've been pondering on, and whether, how do I want my days to be organised, and what effect does that have? If that structure is imposed from outside, how stressed did that make me? I know that my working life as a teacher just felt relentless. It just felt like this continuous treadmill of all the things that I had never done. So I would write lists and make lists of things and cross them off. And in some ways that helped. It helps now. I write little post-it notes and I say, these are the jobs that I need to do. These are things that I need to sort out, and I'll put them at one side on my little weekly planner. And it's like, did I do that? Yes. And there's a joy in ticking it off. And if I don't get it done, it's like, okay, I move it to the next week. But there's a bit more of a fluidity to the day. And I'm sort of thinking about prioritizing blocks of time. So the next couple of days, if the days are good and they're sunny, then those are the days that I clear an area of the garden. I'll give you a tour of the garden. Maybe that's another conversation when the weather's nicer. I can tell you my plans for the garden. I can explain what I think. And I'm nervous about doing that because I'm a complete novice. So this is not a channel, or this is not a discussion and a story about, I'm not an expert. I'm a complete novice and I'm learning. This is the story of my learning. This is the story, like this one is the story of me learning to be happy with the use of my time and be content with living this moment. Maybe that's a long and convoluted way of me getting round to the point and saying today, it suddenly felt, well, it's wet and it's cold and there are some organising jobs I need to do in the other room, but I can put the fire on and I can catch up with some thoughts. I can do some planning, write myself some lists, and I can just enjoy this room for the first time. So that sense of having done lots of things, I'm going to take some time to enjoy it. I'm going to take some moments because time is dictating that this is the opportunity to do it. Tomorrow, the next few days, it might be it's really hot, it's really warm, go and get all the jobs that you can do outside when it's sunny, because it might not be like that. Now, I don't know if that's my life being very luxurious and that there are people who might watch this and think, you know, how dare you be so decadent, we can't live like that. And I have no answer. All I'm doing for me is thinking about how I use my time and how I am learning to become more flexible with it. And if I don't get something done because the weather's changed or circumstances, something comes in the way and I can't do it, it's okay. Do something else. Achieve something else with the time that I've got. And don't beat myself up because my time is so rigid. I haven't done this, this and this and this. Okay. And I suppose if anything, that's the key thing. That's what I've had to learn and I'm continuing to learn to do. Is to extricate myself from a very rigid, fixed way of living to becoming a teeny little bit less fixed. I don't know. Thoughts for today? I don't know, what do you think? How do you feel about your use of time? You constantly feel like you never get things done and you haven't achieved, and what do you do about it? It'd be interesting to know what you think. And I'm curious to know what you would like to know about what I think or what I do, and they are only my opinions. They're only the way I choose to do things. It's not this is what I'm pronouncing for you. you must do this. It's, okay, this is what I'm learning, this is what I'm sharing at the minute, this is my story, and it's always evolving and it's always changing, and I'm always making things change, or things change the story that I live, and I learn as I go along. So I'm always interested to know. I'm interested to share what I think, and I'm interested to know what other people think. So thank you for listening. Thank you for coming along and sitting and hearing my story. I hope you enjoy it. I hope to see you again sometime. Please, before you leave, do subscribe to the channel if this is your first time here. And before you leave, give this video a like. It just helps. Bye-bye.